Welcome to the Spinfoil Theory Podcast. Each week we sit down and discuss our favorite lore topics from within the Destiny universe. Specifically, we intend to take a close look at a specific question that has been nagging us and potentially the Destiny community as a whole. To fulfill that, our discussions tend to assume that you already have some background in the Destiny lore. Despite that, our goal is to be as lighthearted and welcoming to everyone as possible. With that out of the way, let's dive into this week's topic.
Banter. Yes. So yeah, that's my professional intro to the show. While the music's still playing. That's how I do.
Yeah.
Welcome everyone. This is the Spinfoil Theory Podcast. I'm your host Taylor-B. Here's TheBagelz.
Howdy.
How do? And if you don't know anything about TheBagelz, he is from the meanest side of the breakfast table that you've ever been to. He watched.
We have all the jalapenos and habaneros over here.
I'm saying he was born amongst knives. Like they've got. And say what you want, the duller ones hurt more. He's got. But yeah, well, welcome to the Spinfoil Theory Podcast. Welcome to this last episode of 2020. There will be
Indeed.
no more Spinfoil Theory Podcast in the year of 2020 again, ever.
Barring special episode from something popping up.
I'm calling it now. If I'm wrong, I will say so on that special episode.
I'm just waiting for a giant lore release tomorrow.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, you guys could get me. You guys could be like, no, Taylor, we have to talk about Zavala makes hot pants in his off season. We have to, Taylor, this needs to be discussed. The tower was warm, so he gave them hot pants. Fought fire with more intense fire of a different kind. So yeah, hi everyone. This is a show, and this week our discussion is going to be a very popular sort of a topical spinfoil here at the end of 2020, where things lie still in this fresh season. Which I need to play and do my my fucking shoot the Braytech scanny boys.
Oh yeah,
for this week. That. Yeah, I got to do that. I just said I got to do that. Shut up, baby. I know it. But this week's topic is a fun one, and I think a lot of people are starting. You know, we tweeted about this a while ago, and we've seen a couple posts on Reddit and stuff where people are starting to like feel this out. So we wanted to take a more official stab at it. So it's, will the Crow be the next speaker? I really enjoy this one. I don't know about you, Bagels. This is a fun one, and it goes through revelations specifically from the Hawkmoon questline. Mostly when we first tweeted about it was right when that came out, and it's honestly a lot of it boils down to the Traveler speaks to him, like it does. Yeah, it does the fever dream stuff, like yeah. and I know what there's some people be like, well, you know, the Traveler spoke to us too. The Traveler used words with us. With us, it was like, I will speak for myself from now on, which I think I'm starting to think maybe that was just a red herring, and it's like really not really. The way things have gone, but long story short. It's doing the heavily lore-based, as chronicled by the speakers. You know, in the recent years here,
Constellations.
Yes, Constellations. Thank you, Bagels. It's following their depictions of what communication from the Traveler is like. And it's not what we experienced in the Red War was completely different. So I just want to put that out there as to, because a lot of people like to and there's nothing wrong with this attitude, but it's like, you know, the way it happened in game, it becomes more canon to them because that's like, you know, the more interactive experience, I think, than just consuming something that you read. And so they react with, well, but the game did it this way, and it's not that you're wrong. I'm just saying that there's maybe a little more to it, maybe a little different. So put that out there. But Bagels, what's your hot take? I'm prattling on again here.
You're good. I really like this theory, just on the basis of how the Traveler appears in the A Cry from Beyond mission, which is the one where you actually get the Hawk Moon. It's the final mission where you go down into the area in the EDZ, find a shard of the Traveler, and throughout the mission, the Golden Hawk that appears to be a representation of the Traveler, or at least some sort of generation of light. We don't know a whole lot of specifics about what the Hawk is actually made of, but
and the whole time in that mission too, didn't you ever feel like every message you got relayed to you from the Traveler, it was just like, "Baby, come back," was in the background?
I definitely got that feeling a little bit.
Yeah, and the Traveler was like, "I'll be sweet to you, baby. I didn't mean it." And then, like, I feel like once, not to make the Traveler Ike Turner, but I feel like once we picked up Hawkmoon again, it's straight back to sing the damn song the way I told you to sing the song. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt with my stupidity.
No, it just the way that the Hawk both first appears to Crow, and the way that it continues to appear even to us throughout the mission, it just certainly gives off vibes that it's some sort of representation of the Traveler. And so we end up finding our way through the mission, and we get a couple little tidbits in the mission that specifically refer to Guardians, or early Risen, I guess specifically, encountering visions from the Travelers, or visions from the Traveler, excuse me, singular, and basically talking about how the visions were experiences of either previous humans or something along those lines. So there's not a whole lot to go off of for those specific visions and what our ghost is talking about, but it's just how these visions, they seem to align very well with how the book Constellations is written. It's just kind of a general feeling that seems to come to me from that.
Do you know what Traveler visions sound like? And I might make some friends and enemies here with my oversimplification I'm about to drop. So get ready for a hot take. It sounds like when the Traveler communicates to you, it's like when Fry from Futurama gets an idea. It's like a headache with like pictures.
Sure.
No, like nobody seems to enjoy doing it. Like. You know what I mean? Like, even the most recent Traveler, the mask just, like, hurt him until he could. like, I'm just saying, like...
That's fair.
I'm just putting it out there. And, oh my god, I never considered this. So, the last speaker was not a Guardian, right?
Correct.
Not a Guardian. What if he is now?
Yeah, I mean it's entirely possible. I mean we've talked about Saint 14 being the next speaker for quite a while, until the Crow popped up here as a possibility. But yeah, it's entirely possible.
All right. So he wouldn't know unless he. I mean, that would be weird. If
Well, you mean our Guardian, the canon Guardian?
No. I mean our speaker, the one Dominus Gall choked out, or like crushed his face or something.
If he got res.
If a wayward ghost found him and was like, you know what, cool, and shined its little lights from its little light and became his little light. That's right. I just mean like stuff when because back in D1 for the longest time I had always thought the speaker was a Guardian because he always had like a ghost around him.
Right. Until we learned more about how ghosts flock to the speaker and
the ghost network.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's a few of those. And then there's the God, so many ghosts, like, ghosts just for, like, existing have so many hard-lined people. Like, there's no one who is, like, indifferent towards ghosts that talks about them in the game. Like Spider, he wants a ghost. The ghost hunter, he is mad about ghosts. It's like pissed. Fuck ghosts. Then you have people like the Speaker or God, what's her name? We confirmed who it was. The exo sort of godmother of ghosts. It's from the Ghost Stories book, but she basically like shepherds them around till they find their guardian.
Oh.
And there's a Spinfoil, like she's one of the exos from the Europa team. I can't remember who it is, but yeah, that's not important. That's not important. Someone's furiously looking that up right now, like, I must know more. Sorry about that. I'll try to have something for you later. But yeah, so we it's really, how can I say, like the parallels between the sort of the speakers of the past who begin as what I like about where Constellation starts off with this is like they think society just thinks there's something wrong with these people.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't know. And then it's like as you get closer to the collapse, they start like paying attention. Mm-hmm. Like, oh. And then the collapse happens, and then they're actually important because, like, well, I guess we should have listened.
Right?
I don't know. Like, we're trying this now. All right, it's better late than never. So, I really find it interesting that more people in game, like not even our ghost, is saying about it. So it makes me, or is saying anything about it, having contact with Crow. And I say that because, like, I get that Crow is, like, people know that Crow's there. Like, especially now that Osiris is hanging out with Saint again back in the tower.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Being good boys. Everyone's favorite couple. They really are. Couple of the tower, like for sure. There is no slashy or relationship.
I like to envision that as there's now a award going around the tower for best couple.
Oh yeah, no, there's got to be a Tower magazine that's tackling that.
These are the hottest couples in town.
That's what I'm saying. That is an industry. You gotta write about that. And then there's there's Mugatu in the crowd just going like, Osiris and Saint so hot right now. So hot. No, but they are the most cutest, adorable couple. I will say this, it's 90% Saint, and anyone who says differently, like, can come fight me on that. Saint could be in any relationship with any other character, and that would be everyone's favorite couple.
I think I would tend to agree, and I will say that his ability to kind of soften out the rough edges of Osiris, I think, is part of the attraction there as well. But yes, I tend to agree that Saint is obviously the driving factor for the cuteness factor. I have
to put an asterisk in it. We would like him with anyone else in a relationship so long as Sagria is still their friend. Sagria, it makes a lot of those stories too. When she has to remind Osiris that he loves Saint. It's like, yeah, you sure you don't want me to send this? Really? Osiris, is that?
Just essentially shames him.
Basically. That's why I said we got to get her back again. I hope whatever happened to her is just all it is just a catalyst to let her be our ghost again.
That'd be insane.
Dude, I am so here for it though. I'm so here for it. I would play a whole expansion with Sagria as my ghost.
I'm jiggy to Segura coming back in that fashion especially.
Right? Okay. But as far as Crow being the speaker, the other thing that I think it goes beyond just getting the headaches, he's able to interpret them correctly. He's able to know that it's us he needs to reach out to. He's able to guide us to the Golden Hawk, and he's able to play his part properly. Like, he did everything a prophet's supposed to do. Like, he heard, he interpreted, he acted.
And maybe there's like a trial aspect to it here as well, to see how well Crow would serve in the role for the Traveler. Just kind of a trial basis to see. That's not something that I would envision the Traveler ever doing, but just kind of throwing that out there as a concept.
You and your concepts. Think you fucking own the place? Walking around. No. I think that's definitely it's on the table. I don't know how towards center it is. I don't know if that's part of the cornucopia, but it's on the table.
The only reason I'm throwing it out there is we're clearly at a tipping point here with the introduction of stasis and Guardians potentially being corrupted by it. The Traveler may seek out to find the individual that they think is best served as its speaker. Essentially. It might try and figure out who that person may be via a series of trials, or just giving them the role briefly to see how they react to it.
I'm here for that. I feel like at this point, well, it's not that I think that's wrong. I would just, as far as like where we are at in that timetable, I think we're past it choosing.
Sure.
Figuring out who it's going to be. I think the fact that it's doing stuff already, I think it's made its choice.
Sure. I think that's probably fair as well. I just wanted to throw it out there as an idea.
So. I appreciate you, Bagels. One thing that I am still on the fence. I know they keep saying we're going to have to make a choice, and I bet narratively there will be potential different things that'll happen. I don't think they're going to split the player base. I don't think we're going to lose anything that we have access to. I think we'll maybe temporarily if there's a narrative purpose to it, similar to the Red War, but that's not what I mean. I mean, I do not see Bungie creating a situation where you could have 90% of people on one team and 10% on the other. Even with multiple characters, I don't see them doing anything that would actually divide the community in any way.
They've done nothing to this point outside of the Vanguard versus Drifter questline that's even remotely close to that.
Right, and it didn't change anything, right? It was just narrative stuff. Yeah, I think they might do something like that. They might have someone write you a mean email. But I don't, you know what I mean? And I'm just saying, that's my hot take. I don't think Guardians are going to get split up. If anything, we might get kicked out. For a little bit.
Kicked out of, the Vanguard, kicked out of the tower sort of thing?
Kicked out of the last city. I think because the consensus actually owns that spot. That's not ours. Mm-hmm. We agreed to protect it.
Yeah. Are you talking our Guardians specifically, or Guardians in general, or a subsection thereof?
I think all of those are on the table. I think more than likely it would be a subsection of Guardians, speaking to your point about things coming to a head for a choice. Mm-hmm. But honestly, if that's a segue for anything, it's for giving them time to rebuild the actual tower.
That's fair.
That's not... you know what I mean? You're not...
I do.
I just don't see... I want to put this out there to everyone. I don't think anyone is necessarily wrong in their thought processes. That is a possible thing that could happen in life. I don't think the narrative and structure of the game Bungie has really allows for that to be a functional choice they could make for us, though. Like,
I tend to agree. They struggle to put out some level of content at certain points, and basically designing two distinct quest lines that would take us to different activities. That seems to be a waste of potential developer time in order to actually do something like that.
Exactly. Maybe if they were still back with Activision. And I don't say that longingly.
No,
please,
no.
Everyone, I would much rather have Bungie being able to be creative how they want without fucking nickel and diming us, but
yeah. And I would argue that narrative-wise, they've done a fabulous job since the split. Like, I know not everybody's 100% satisfied with some of the content, but I think most people that are fans of the lore can certainly agree on the aspect that the lore that they've been putting out has been amazing.
Oh yeah, that's, and I mean we were, I'll say like a side thing. I think a few weeks ago we were talking about Bungie paying attention to the lore community in the TWAB, and it's, how can I say this? They write so much that their product deserves them to share more than just like the same couple videos. And this isn't like a shot at the people who are those like big names. You guys are great. I wouldn't be here without being your fans. So like I want to put that like first and foremost. I just mean like there are so many different perspectives available out there. People doing videos like Kaz, like Trams, like all these guys, friends of the show, who are just like fucking amazing doing their streams and like history of the fucking Fallen in the Elixir, like the entire goddamn history, like honestly, like there's so much effort and response to the amount of creativity Bungie puts into its narrative that like it just like, I'm just like, why are you kicking yourself in the... Like, why are you kicking yourself and not showcasing all this work you put into this? Like, I feel like every time they show, like... I love Crucible too, guys, but I feel like every time they show me, like, a no-look 360 no-scope, like, headshot, I'm just like, okay, like, that was very impressive. I don't know how different you are from the last dude who did it, but yeah, like...
I will say that...
Seventh columns all day, like, you're very entertaining.
I will say that those videos are pretty fantastic for the most part. But
they are!
Showcasing lore is hard to do. I can understand where their marketing department is coming from on that sort of aspect. Just on the basis of how do you... It's hard to advertise a book, let alone...
Well,
game lore that's hidden, kind of half hidden in the game. So you have to recover it.
I really want to present a counterpoint to this because I think the streamers and the Crucible and the PvP stuff is all amazing. I'm not attacking those videos. All I'm saying is Bungie, even when everything is awesome every time, when it's the same kind of thing every time, you're going to get tired of it. You're just going to get tired of it. You could eat your favorite food for every meal, and you'll probably eventually wish you could eat something else. And that's where I'm coming from here. And Bagels, I just want to say, like, from the marketing perspective, they don't sell anything outside of the actual game for Crucible. They sell the goddamn lore books. And it just doesn't make any sense to me that they don't like showcase that. Like they have three like sizable lore books, and that doesn't even have all the lore.
No, not by a long shot.
Not by a long shot. Like, this is what I'm saying. Like, this is my thing. Like, I don't want them to like force them to like have to cultivate the lore community. I think the lore community is great. It just boggles my mind. They can put so much effort into something and hardly talk about it. I feel like sometimes. So yeah. That's my side table gripe. Thank you for coming to my my TED rant. I didn't mean to. I'll leave that in. Like, I'll take any shots that anyone wants to put at me if they disagree with where I'm coming from. Because like I think this stuff's great. It's just like always the same thing. Like, I don't know. Like, that's just me. Back to the back to the topic at hand, though. I'm gonna shift those gears back. Thanks for indulging me, Biggs there. But I really think, going back to the theory that Crow will be the next speaker, I think it'll be one of those things potentially, just as like a counterpoint to throw a wrench in this. I think it could be one of those things. He's the only one who could be the next speaker, and he will refuse to be the speaker.
I see some potential in that.
My man wants to make fishing lures. I don't have much argument for saying why he wouldn't refuse. Like, if I really think about it, like, maybe if we put another bomb in his ghost.
We defuse the one that Spider put in there.
Just to put another. We didn't actually defuse it, we just changed its frequency.
It brings up an interesting question. Can you refuse to become a speaker? Would the visions just completely keep coming to you, despite your refusal to relay them to anybody?
I don't know. Well, I mean,
guess at that point you're not speaking about it.
Well, there could be. I mean, in the past there were more than one person. Mm-hmm. It did whittle down to just one person, though, eventually, and that person couldn't even really hear the speaker on their own. The connection had been whittled, which actually, we don't talk about that a lot. Do you think I've always thought that there was the connection between when the Traveler went dormant? Mm-hmm. And if you look at that, if you take that timeline and you put it against the timeline in constellations, you actually see that the longer the Traveler's asleep, the less they can hear it.
And you might... I kind of put that into a frame of... I wonder if the Traveler didn't go into like a deep sleep in preparation for its final emergence as... to come awake, essentially. Or if it was interrupted from that deep sleep in the moment of it basically being trapped by Gaul in the Red War. But I kind of get the feeling that to fully repair, it had to go into a particularly deep sleep, and that's why the speakers couldn't hear it as well. It's just kind of mind canon for now, but kind of the feeling I get from it.
To that point... Here's what I remember, and let me know if I'm on the correct page here. Aside from some shards that we find in D1, mostly shards that the Hive had, for example, that we send back to the Traveler, mm-hmm. It wasn't until right before this year, this current DLC, this current season that we're in, that the Traveler actually reassembled itself. So, were you saying the build-up to that act? Or were you saying there was potentially a build-up to its actions at the end of the Red War?
I was thinking up to the Red War in particular.
Gotcha.
But it could go either way. Obviously, there hasn't been a whole lot of activity since there as well.
I gotcha. So... I find that interesting because it's, as far as I can tell, it goes because the timeline goes up to the speaker that we have, up into D2, mm-hmm. From the last city, and he has to use some trickery. And the thing that gets me about his mask is that he just thinks he's hearing the speaker finally based on the descriptions of people who could hear the speaker, like his interpretation of what they said it was like. So I feel like there's always this possibility that all that thing really did was, like, make him trip out.
It's entirely possible.
Yeah, and he just thought, like, that's his ayahuasca. Like, it's just putting the mask on.
There are a couple of things in the later part of Constellations, particularly his premonition of the Red War, that made me think otherwise. But there's not a whole lot of evidence to say for sure that he was directly receiving visions from the Traveler, like the rest of the speakers were. But I tend to believe he was an actual speaker.
I do too. I I giggle at that. Like he's just tripping his balls out the whole time. He never took that mask off. Telling people the traveler's talking to him.
Taking LSD the entire time. And
well, that's what I'm saying. Like, he's right about the Red War. Well, like, okay, even a blind pig finds an acorn once in a while. Like, but yeah, yeah, I would say that's an interesting one. What are some wrenches you can throw into this one there, Beggs? Though I'm starting to get to where the biggest things that would stop it are the characters involved.
Well, my biggest hesitations include the Crow isn't the only one that's received visions from the Traveler that hasn't been a speaker. Specifically, in the Hawkmoon quest, there are visions that the Ghost refers to from way back in the Dark Ages, where it's basically just the first Risen wandering around the wastelands, and they were receiving visions from the Traveler. Now, how concentrated those were, maybe the Traveler was essentially delirious, and it was just broadcasting signals just willy-nilly, and this is before the speaker really became a thing, and it learned how to communicate more effectively later on, directly to a singular person, and maybe it has to put in some sort of concerted effort to do so. So that could just be that it was in a state that it was not able to communicate effectively at that point. On top of that, it seems this is one mission that we really have to go off of so far. If we get a second mission where Crow guides us along on another sort of traveler-initiated style mission, say we go and...
Do you liken it more to a vision quest or a walkabout?
I want to go on a vision quest.
I kind of want to go on a walkabout. Like, if Crow's just like, saddle up, Taylor-B. Go to old Chicago. Be like, well, all right. Don't you want to stay and fight the other guys who are fighting the city? Nah, I'm cool. I'm gonna go see what's up over here. All right, I'm sorry.
Yeah, but no, if we do go on a vision quest led by the Crow, I'd say this gives it a lot more credence as well. It's just right now we're pretty much lacking on hard evidence to confirm this, in my opinion.
Well, that's what makes it the most Spinfoiliest.
Oh yeah.
Absolutely. What I like about this is we're not stretching it too far.
Mm-hmm.
It's pretty thick, but is it strong?
Yeah, there's plenty of reason to believe that it could be the Crow that'll be the next speaker. It's just there's nothing that's really concrete yet, and yeah. I guess that's kind of where I'm sitting. What are your wrenches?
I think for all intents and purposes he might be, but he won't actually take any sort of position or want to go into the city. Fair. I think he tried going into the city before, and it was so bad he decided being Spider Slave wasn't such a bad deal. Well, at least the Fallen show him respect.
It's true.
Like they know his face too, and they like raise their glass to him for the most part. Mm-hmm. So there's that. I would say, yeah, that the biggest wrench is just what we know about the character so far. And granted, we don't know that much more about Crow as a character either, but he doesn't seem to like really be into a lot of power grabby stuff. So the idea of being in an important position that people really depend on, and also people that he doesn't really know, and what he does know about them is they don't like his face. I just don't see him giving up any sort of freedom that he has to go do that. And honestly, he still has the bomb in his ghost. So even if he's like, fuck yeah, let's do this, Spider's gonna be like, ooh.
So you think? No.
That is too far. Like, boom.
I guess counter to that, what's to say that the speaker has to reside in the tower? Obviously, we've got a track record of our speaker in D1 being in the tower all the time, but
I mean, obviously they aren't operating that, but currently the city's government is down 2 positions that should be filled. The speaker being one of them.
That's a fair point. I guess we might be looking about the speaker in 2 different ways. I might be looking at it from the perspective of like a divine beneficiary of the traveler versus the political power that the speaker was in D1. It's kind of it's 2 ways to look at the speaker, to be honest. Where do you draw that line between the power granted from the traveler versus the power invested into you via the city as essentially a leader?
Yeah, I mean, it would be. Well, I mean, there is a lot of power involved in it because you're the head of this. You're the head of the consensus, and I mean, it wouldn't be easy either because there has been lore more recently released. I think this season as well between Zavala and Ikora, talking about the current state of the government, albeit briefly. And I mean, even they're kind of like, I think his attitude, which surprised me, was like, we don't need another speaker. Like, I was just like, oh, really? Oh, really, head of the military? That's just me.
True words have never been spoken out of somebody who would desire a coup, but...
You know what I mean? It's just like, okay, weird.
Not that I think I'm planning a coup or anything.
Well,
but,
I mean, of the 2 people in that discussion, he was not the one I would have ever expected to say something like that. I could see Ikora saying something like that, but like even with her, I wouldn't expect it to be like a permanent thing either. Or it would at least be more subtle. Like we can put a speaker in, but he needs to be on the take. Needs to be a little spy speaker. Plant. That's what I would see her doing on her worst day, guys. I'm not saying this is what like she would do. But I would for Zavala. I was surprised he would say that. I was just like, really, Mr. By the Rules, Mr. By the Rules, where the rules say you need to have this dude, this person.
I would say that it points to Zavala's recent questioning of the traveler more so than anything else. It seems to, it seems to highlight the very fact that he's been having internal struggles with essentially the downfall of the Vanguard, downfall of the consensus. They're not downfall per se, but realistically, their shortcomings of recent and lack of success.
I mean, even depictions of him, albeit they not our air quotes Zavala, but like if you look at the Dark Future from the Strangers books, Elsie Bray's collection, even that Zavala that had been completely cut off from the Traveler, cut himself off from the Traveler. Like it seemed to me like he had killed the Drifter in that one too. Like, holy shit. Yeah. And just like even lower than I think a lot of people consider when they consider Zavala having like a break. He still came back and turned himself into a bomb, into a missile bomb. Yeah. Well, it's not really a bomb. It was cool because like I actually thought about it. It's not that what he did killed him. It's that what he did cause probably killed him, or like the effects of what he did probably, like either someone killed him after he landed if they survived, or like everything just collapsed on him.
Sure.
Like that's what, because I was thinking about how the super works. Like he turned himself into an electric rocket boy. After like just soaking up the Traveler. But yeah, that's a cool one. If you guys haven't read it, definitely worth your time. It's the best. To me, it's like Destiny's version of Days of Future Past.
Sure.
Which is one of my favorite X-Men storylines that I read as a youngin'. So yeah. But sorry about the tangents, everyone. I'm terrible with these. So yeah, that's where I'm at though. The characters. It's the characters throw the biggest wrench. Technically, they need a speaker. But I feel like there are just characters involved in the story that are going to put the kibosh on that. And, I mean, it could cause some conflict. Like, I mean, I could definitely see some conflict between the Tower and the Spider if it is determined that Crow is supposed to be the speaker. Or at least, like, the Traveler's Prophet. Maybe he's not the speaker, but they're still listening to what he has to say, right?
Right. De facto, he would immediately become the spiritual leader of the Guardians. So,
well, see, there's two ways they could handle it, though. They could keep him behind closed doors and just not tell anyone because of the reaction that they would have. Mm-hmm. And then he's guiding the Vanguard, or at least interpreting his stuff for the Vanguard, right? Mm-hmm. Or us, like we're actually his buddy at this point. Yeah. Does that make us fishing buddies? I want to go fishing with the Crow. I want to do it. I really want to do
it. Fishing hat with the vest.
Oh, yeah.
Strap it over your armor.
Yeah. I want the fishing hat. I want the vest. I want
waders.
Maybe just boots. It depends on what kind of fishing we're doing. Definitely have my PFD on. Gonna want that. That's a personal flotation device for anyone who isn't in the know. Gonna want that PFD. I have a sweet one too. It's a triangular kayaking one, but great arm, shoulder movement. But yeah, that's my wrench. I think any way you slice it, I don't think Crow would want to, but even if he did, he has a bomb on his goes, so you could ask him to kill Glint, but I don't think he's going to do that either.
You could have the situation where Glint dies, and that could be like a pivotal point in his story arc where it allows him to...
That would suck so hard. He got rezzed. And they fucking serve up pulled pork.
But it could... the story pretty well if they do it right in order to transition him into the speaker position. I could see that happening, but we'll see.
Yeah, it's not the most clear to me exactly how they would get over that hurdle. I really hope they don't have to kill Glint. I know he's not everyone's favorite Orchid, but
he's not really even pulled pork anymore. He feels like a completely different personality to me.
He is. It's at least he's grown now that he has someone to talk to.
Exactly. Yeah.
Now that he's completed his task, he was definitely like tunnel visioned on it. And sorry, Orchid, I mean to put you on the spot. I just know you're not a fan of Glint. But yeah. So yeah, Glint. Killing Glint would suck. Yeah, that would suck. Yeah, it would.
I'd like to see Glint stick around, but I'm just saying that's a distinct possibility that they could do.
That's true. Well, all right. Well, what about this? I'm gonna turn it up to 11, which is something we haven't had to do in a while.
Sure.
And to make honestly, like, all you need is either in or out of game, like a lore entry even would do it. Mm-hmm. Just a vision that kind of like says you're the speaker.
Right. Or maybe not something quite as just...
Doesn't have to be so direct, but yeah. Like...
about it. Yeah, but another just like direct vision that puts Crow on a vision quest or walkabout.
Oh, dude, if he had a walkabout, I would be so...
I would be all for that. That would be some...
Walkabouts can take years. If anyone's not familiar with the term walkabout, I'm sure our Australian fans are. Our American fans, it's what Crocodile Dundee does. And loses him his wife and makes him the perfect guide. In the first movie. He goes on a walkabout.
Simplified version in The Simpsons where the coyote guides him after he eats the hot pepper.
Well, that's a spirit quest. That's different.
Oh, that's right. You're correct.
A walkabout is like you go, but to find yourself. It's similar vein, but different. Different.
You're correct.
Yeah. Like, as I'm saying, walkabout can take a very long time.
Which honestly could make sense in the sense of the Crow, where he needs those years to come to full acceptance of who he is. I could see a year-long type event where he essentially wanders the system and figures out who he needs to be, who he wants to be.
Those would be some pretty sweet comics. I would read them.
Adventures of the Crow and Glint.
Yeah, I still like Kevin and Pork Pie, but you know he has a different name now. I can't call him that anymore.
Rolls off the tongue, a little more fun.
I know, right? Aaron's like, what's your name? It's fucking Kevin. Like, oh shit. Everyone look out, it's Kevin and he's pissed. He is coming for vengeance. But yeah, I think that's all I got. I really like the theory. I really enjoy the characters involved, and I've enjoyed the journey to kind of get to where we can sort of toy with this idea that he might be sort of a speaker, or honestly, and the seat of the speaker is really, the more we talk about it, the seat of the speaker is really like a man-made position. Mm-hmm. The Traveler was talking to people before they had that, before they were even called that.
Correct.
But in constellations, those guys are considered like speakers, right? So, it might be that he is, in the sort of original spirit of it, already a speaker. But in terms of the political position within the last city, he is very much not the speaker. Like, as he sits right now. I feel like that. So if we sort of tweak it, if he's the next speaker in the spiritual sense, I actually gotta say, like, I think he's done it. I think that's worked. There can be more than one.
It's true. It's very true.
There have existed multiple in the past. And if the only criteria, if we look at all speakers, if the only criteria is the one thing they all have in common, which is that the Traveler gives them headaches with pictures, then I actually got to go back on my word here. I got to say that's plausible. If we look at it from the standpoint that he fills the shoes of the last speaker, then, no, will he? I think a lot of our points and hang-ups get in the way of that one.
Yeah, I think that's entirely fair. In fact, I'd final score this like 35% that he'll become the next like political speaker. 65% he doesn't. Sort of thought process. I think it's still entirely valid that he could fully develop into his own person, and people recognize that. But right now there are a lot of political hang-ups, particularly people who still would not trust him, pretty much in any situation where he would have any sort of political power. There are a lot of those people that would still be around, as seen by the reactions throughout the past couple years, where he's just been floating around as an unnamed guardian, but people still recognized him.
What if he does like Thor and just takes his cape and like does like this? You guys can't see it, but I'm covering my face right now.
Like the Wizard of Oz, the man behind the curtain type scenario?
No, like just enough of his face to where you're not really sure.
Okay.
Or maybe he can do what they do in the Marvel universe and just wear a baseball hat and sunglasses. And just nobody recognizes him anymore. What do you mean that's not the speaker? He's got a baseball hat and sunglasses on.
He put glasses on. That can't be the speaker.
Oh, God. I'm just imagining, like, she's all that. Like, that can't be... That's not Aldrin. He's wearing glasses and his hair's up. Like, there's no way that you're gonna convince me that was the... No way. That is so unprincely. Like, he's got glasses, hair's up, and I think that's paint on his overalls. No way. No way, guys. Okay. My final score, I'm gonna give it, if it's, depending on how you look at it, if you're reflecting it off of the speakers shown in constellations, yeah, I gotta give him the score there. I'll give him, God, what's a high number? 11T. I will give him 11T probabilities. There wasn't a number high enough, Biggs, so I had to make one. You can do it too, you just gotta use your imagination. So, and then the idea that he's going to, like, fill the political position within the last city and the consensus of the speaker, that I can definitely use real numbers for. That I think is going to be like a 28. Maybe nuts. I mean, maybe, but probably, maybe not. like that's... Based on what we know right now, that's he's kind of in a hard spot to come back and hold any job in the last city. Like, I don't think he could go to Earth. I feel like that would be too far away from his, like, proverbial leash that the spider keeps him on. So, although it would be, I wonder, because it's the threat is that he'll blow up Glint. Mm-hmm. Or if, like, he gets too far, Glint will blow up. So maybe he could do, like, short little jaunts if he didn't take Glint with him.
You could also make the argument that Spider could use it as kind of a hammer hanging over his head to get what he wants politically from the last city.
Oh, but
I'm just throwing this out as a concept. Just something hanging over the crow's head to prevent him from acting in a way against Spider's favor, essentially. Just long term, if he actually if he became known as the political speaker. If
he could do it, I mean, it would, for that to work in my head, they would have to not know about the bomb.
Correct.
Which they would have to know because our ghost can't shut the fuck up.
Right?
Like, if there is anything we can say about Ghost in Destiny 2, he is a chatty Cathy.
If there's one reason we know we are not part of the Hidden, it's because our ghost is
Dude, I don't think, like, he seems like one of those guys, and, I really love him to death, and this is not a knock on writing or anything, it's just like, when you can kind of, like, envision a character in real life situations that you've been in? I feel like Ghost is the type of person who wouldn't, like, reveal the secret, but they'd be like, oh, I'm not telling you the fucking secret that I know. Fuck you. There's no way. You'll never get it out of me. And that's just like, you really couldn't be a spy with that kind of partner. Unless he exclusively worked from your backpack.
Just gotta tie, like, some sort of, like, pillow around him to prevent him from making noises.
Right? It's gotta be something. There's gotta be something. I don't know.
Soundproof ghost shell.
Yeah. What if you made a ghost shell that just had, like, just enough to where it can, like, shoot its little light out there, but the entire thing's made of the black box, and you just, like, keep that against you, like, in your backpack at all times, and that's how you roll. And there's like, where's your ghost? Like, he's safe is where the ghost is. Where are you? Like, just can res you, try to shoot through, but it's too small. That's Bungie. Black box ghost shell. It'd be funny if it was just like a floating what the actual black box looks like.
Right? That's all it needs to be.
Just looks like a radio you just jacked out of a car from the 90s. Just floating right there next to you. It's just beeping at you. I would pay money for that. I really would. I really would. Okay. Excuse me. Shout-outs. My shout-outs this week are just to excuse me. To everyone. Happy New Year. 2020 was rough. If I don't talk to you before the end of the year, we're making it through. We'll keep going. There's a light at the end of the tunnel, and yeah, that's who my shout out is, for everyone who can put 2020 behind them.
Yeah, couldn't agree more. We're close. We've got vaccines on the way now. It's looking significantly brighter than it did not that long ago. I'll say that much.
Exactly.
So I want to completely echo your shout out, and for everybody to be safe as a result. Hopefully we don't overlook immediate concerns about COVID, because we're seeing the end of the tunnel.
Get to the end of the tunnel.
Yeah, exactly. Got to get there first.
Then, get there. You don't act like you're there before you're there. That's when a saucy defense player comes and slaps the ball out of your hands right before you reach the goal. Just no. You celebrate it too early. Anyway. Yeah, so yeah, everyone, be safe. We love you, and we'll see you next year. Haha.
Indubitably.
Yeah. What do you think first show of 2021 is going to be?
That's an excellent question.
Right? I bet there's robots.
And dinguses?
I bet. Oh, well, I mean, not if we're talking about Destiny. I'll tell you that. There are no dinguses on robots are like sex in the champagne room. It's just it ain't happening. Ain't happening. Well, okay. All right, everyone. Bagels, love you, buddy. This has always has been a lot of fun this last year doing the show with you. So just want to put a big appreciate to you on the end of this.
I got you, buddy.
Yeah, man. This has been a lot of fun. Here's to many more. I know we have a plethora of topics there, El Guapo, and we our list keeps growing. So we got many more to come. All right. Happy New Year, everyone. Bye-bye.
Bye. That's the end of this week's topic, but be sure to check out our past and future episodes on Spotify, iTunes, and Podbean. If you have any questions about this week's topic, want to discuss Destiny lore with us, or if you just feel like reaching out to us, you can find us on Twitter at Spinfoil Theory, or you can email us via spinfoiltheory@gmail.com. Thanks for listening.
The Lore Network.